Hello everyone, welcome to day 13 of 21 days of ML with Code Warriors. In this session, we are going to talk about a new algorithm which is support vector machine. So let's get started. The first thing is why we need support vector machine. It's just similar to support vector regression that we seen in the previous videos. Now, trying to understand the real case scenario, there may be two possibility that data can be either linearly separable or non-linearly separable. Like as you can see in this image below, this data is referred as non-linearly separable because we can separate both the classes, that is a blue square and black circle, by using a single line here. It can't be classified using any algorithm by using a single line to classify these two classes from each other. Alright? But there are multiple algorithms from which some of them are used for only linearly separable data, whereas some of them are used for non-linearly separable data. But support vector machine came into play cause it can be used to perform both types of classification for linearly separable data as well as non-linearly separable data. Alright, so that's why it comes into play. Now support vector machine is a collection of algorithms in which the first component is support vector regression and second component is support vector classification. And in this session we are going to talk about support vector classification. So what is support vector machine? Now this algorithm is a classifier which uses a hyperplane so that it can split the data using the optimal hyperplane so that the data points will be categorized or classified from each other. Now as you can see in this image, if you use a 2D visualization by taking two independent variables, then the hyperplane for the model will look like a line which will split both the classes from each other, as you can see here. And similarly, for suppose let's say you go for three independent variables or like three-dimensional visualization, it will look like this, where there are three independent variables and data will be classified from each other using a hyperplane, which will be a plane because it's a 3D visualization. Alright. Now support vector machine works a little different compared to other algorithms because it's mostly dependent on outliers. Now in the regression you can understand the outliers quite well, but for the classification the outliers are just like the exceptions for these classes. For let's say in this group of cluster of green circles, this data point shows more property towards red compared to all the data points, and it's kind of far away from them. And similarly this red data point is kind of so more properties of green class compared to others. And in this way, what the support vector machine does is try to find an optimal hyperplane so that it can split both the classes from each other. As you remember, how logistic regression work is that it tries to limit or threshold the value between 0 and 1. But what support vector machine does is that the support vector machine takes the output of linear function and convert it in such a way that if the output is more than 1, it will be identified as one class, and if the output is less than -1, then it will be treated as of another class. As you remember, support vector regression provides a threshold around the hyperplane. Similarly, it works as well. It provides a threshold around it and it limits and sets the value to hyperplane as 0, and upper margin of a hyperplane, that is the upper threshold of a hyperplane, as 1, and lower threshold of hyperplane as -1. So if you try to understand this hyperplane, there will be a line above it and line below it, and the above line will be treated as 1, and all the data points whose output from the linear function goes more than 1 will be treated as of class red, and all the data points whose output value goes less than -1 will be identified as our data point of class B, that is here class green. Alright, let's try to understand it by an example. By understanding how it works step by step, first it tries to split the categories using various hyperplanes as much as possible. Like this, these hyperplanes are like kind of the hyperplane that split both the categories from each other. And then it takes hyperplane one by one and try to check which one of the hyperplane is an optimal hyperplane. And how it does is that it checks, it works as similar as I told you in support vector regression. It tries to find out the hyperplane with the maximum margin, as you can see in this image, from where the threshold value of from above and below will be as maximum as possible. And in this way it will categorize both the classes from each other. And here if you try to understand it with the concept that I told you just earlier, then it will set that the value for optimal hyperplane will be as 0, and the value for upper margin as 1, and value for lower margin as -1. When you apply the operation on the data points above here, their output will be 1 or more than 1, and that's why they will be treated as a class of blue. And when the output will be less than -1, then they will be treated or identified as a part of a class red square, right? And it works by maximizing its margin as much as possible. And you can try to understand it by seeing these two images below, where this hyperplane also categorizes both the classes, or also classifies both of the types of data points here, and this hyperplane work as well. But as you can see, the margin of this hyperplane is less compared to this, where its margin is huge. So support vector machine is going to pick this hyperplane as for model for its this classification problem. And that's how it works. Now, in order to understand the support vector machine, we are going to check out their advantages and disadvantages. Support vector machine works relatively well compared to other, because it have a clear margin of separation between two classes. So there will be, and the accuracy will be more compared to it, because they are kind of classified from each other with a clear margin between them. All right. And second is, as the dimension increases, its effectiveness also increases, as I saw you before in an image where it tries to split the categories with a line, whereas in 3D it tries to fit, or I mean categorize both the classes using a plane, and which will be more suitable. And when we go to the disadvantage is as similar as support vector regression, because it depends on outliers. So a support vector machine is also not suitable for large data set. And second, it doesn't perform well when the data has more noise, because it is sensitive to outliers. Alright, now this was all about support vector machine, but we will try to understand about its kernel and its functions, and how it works on non-linear data in the next session, so that we will be able to have a clear understanding about this algorithm support vector machine. And when we try to understand about the kernel, and we try to implement kernel as per a requirement, it is also sometimes referred as kernel SVM, kernel support vector machine. So we will try to see it tomorrow. Now that was all about the support vector machine. Now we will try to understand how to implement this in a code. So here first we try to import a support vector classifier from SVM package, where it contains both support vector regression and support vector classification, but it's mostly used for support vector classification. So in the code from sklearn.svm, we are going to import svc, support vector classifier, and then we are going to create its object first by using svc parenthesis, and in which we need to pass a value for kernel, where the value of kernel depends on the data. If you are using for linear, there is also a kernel referred as linear, and for non-linear, Gaussian, RBF and others, right? Now in order to train our classifier model, we are going to use fit function of a model. So we are going to write clf.fit, in which we need to pass our training data, which is independent variable and dependent variable of it. And for prediction, we are going to use .predict function, clf.predict, in which we are going to pass an independent variable of testing data, which is going to return the prediction out of it, and we are going to store it in y_pred. Now you will find link to our blog and our LinkedIn post in the description. Try to check it out. You will gain a better understanding about this session from them. So that's it for our today's session. Hope you like it. Enjoy. Keep learning.